My name is Marty Major with FLIR Security's TCX Training Department. We're here today to talk about Control Center and specifically within Control Center, creating and managing layouts. If you have seen some of our older Latitude software, you actually created the layout right here within Admin Center, and then you went to Control Center to actually complete the layout itself. But now everything, as of 6.4, everything is moved straight to Control Center, and it's now done right here within Control Center. Now the reason I didn't have this already open was because I wanted you to see that the default layout, which is what we're presented with right here when we open up Control Center, always shows up when you launch the application. This cannot be saved, even if I were to bring cameras in, say like this. Down here below the layouts, we have create or add layout for a new one. And then we also have save. And you'll notice no matter what I do to the default layout, save never lights up. So this is basically just your playground area for clicking on, getting to your timeline, things like that. Just really quick operations. It can be removed, however, it cannot be deleted. For instance, if I come up here, I could remove the layout itself. Now I have none, unless I were to come over here and or first add another one, and then come over here and choose one of the other layout options that I have in my layout tree. But like I said, you can remove it, but it is not deleted. You can always come back into View and then Default Layout, and then it will restore it to the quad default layout that always comes up when you launch your system. Now, as I mentioned before, to create any layout at all, you have to come down here and add layout. Once you've added the layout, let's see, training layout, just to give it something, some name. Now that I've named it, all I've done is I've saved the name itself, and the layout actually exists now in the left-hand side over here, the training layout, as you can see. However, it has not been saved as a layout yet because I need to, one, add cameras to it, and two, choose from my available options over here on the right-hand side. Now you can see using my arrows, I can scroll through the available list or options for the different layouts that are available to be used. And from this list, I can pick and choose any one that I want. If I click this, it automatically changes the shape to what I have available here. And then I could add cameras like so. And, for whatever reason, if I wanted to add them all or leave some available, maybe arm some for alarms or alternative content if I'm expecting alarms or something to come in. Maybe I'll use these three for arming for alternative content, and for these, I'll actually just use for my camera displays. So anything that you want to do when you're creating them, they all come from these choices over here. You simply come down here and add, which we did, and we actually have a name now, training layout, as you can see up here on its tab. But we also want to save this once we get our cameras in here, and possibly, for zooming in on any particular spot, and we want to save it in this zoomed in region. This is where we would set everything up first, and then we simply come down here and save layout. Now that layout is saved, it exists down here. If I delete it, remove it from here, or the X from the corner over here, to restore it, I simply double click it from my tree, and it comes right back to the saved regions, in my digital zoom spots that I had saved, and my just regular camera feeds as well. Now, one of the other things that we can do when managing our layouts, options basically, i.e. what appears on the right-hand side as a choice for the person who's in Control Center to use, we can do that right from Tools and Options. And then once we get into Tools and Options, what we want to do is come down to View Settings, and then come down to Layout Patterns. Now, this screen allows us to do two different things. One, it allows us to remove one of the available ones. Anything in this list on the right-hand side is in the selected area, and you can see by default everything is available. If for whatever reason you don't like your people to be able to utilize some of these different layouts, possibly too many screens, right? The 5x5s and the 4x4s and whatnot. It could be possibly too much resources for your machine if they were to fill up each individual pane with a camera from the tree on the left-hand side. So you can eliminate their ability to even see this simply by taking that particular layout and any other ones that you want from this list out of your options, just by simply moving it over to the available. If it's in the selected field when you hit OK and save, then it's going to be listed here. If it's listed over in the available screen over here, it means it's not being used and it will not be displayed over on the right-hand side. And you could literally highlight everything in here, move it over to the left-hand side, and then simply bring in the ones that you want your guards and your operators to be able to utilize on the right-hand side. So basically, and now the secondary thing that we can do here, not only can we remove these from the choices on the tree on the right-hand side, we can also put them in the order that we want them from top to bottom. For instance, you can see they're listed right here as they are over here on the right-hand side. We have the 1 by, the 2 by 2, the 3 by 3, the Brady Bunch sort of view. If I wanted to reorder these, I simply highlight this one. Like this is my favorite one. I want it at the top. I highlight it and I simply use these arrows to manipulate and maneuver its location within the other ones. Now it's the second one. Now it's the top one. As soon as I hit OK, as you can see, it now becomes the top one. So you can reorder those any way you'd like to within the tools and options, and you can actually remove any options you don't like as options for your operators. Now, finally, what I want to talk about is we understand now how to create and how to save and some of the different options that we have as far as what's displayed and what's able to be used. But we also want to talk about assigning particular layouts to specific individuals that are in the system. So let's go ahead and come back out of here and we'll go to Admin Center and take a look at the Users and Group section. Now you'll notice it's highlighted on the System Administrator, which is the account that comes with the system. Every other person in here has been added by myself. So I wanted to notice though that as this particular end user indicates, it also has a layout tab, just like all of my users within my system have a layout tab. The reason I'm talking about the system administrator is it doesn't work this way. The system administrator is a specified account or a specialized account. And even though it's got the layout tab, and I can take that training layout that we just created and move it over here, I cannot save it, right? A lot like the default layout. This is because of the specialty of this account, even though the tab is here like all users, this one is not functional. So it's important to keep in mind. If you're logged in as a system admin, you cannot assign layouts to this particular person. However, if we go to somebody else, like Fred, for instance, Fred, I have that training layout already assigned to him. I've already moved it over here. I could do the same thing for George. I think Fred and Julie, or Fred and Mary, are both in the guards group. We can actually tell this by coming over to Fred and seeing he's in the users and the guards, and I believe so is Mary. So basically, if I wanted to, again, the reason I'm pointing they're both in the same group is if I go to the guards group itself, notice there is no layout tab. You must understand this limitation, right? If I got 50 guards and I want to assign the layout to all of my 50 guards, well, I'd have to go in individually to those people that are in the guards group and make that change on their particular layout tab. So you can see right here, Mary, like Fred is a guard. He's already got my training layout assigned to him. Mary is also a guard, and I can assign the layout as simple as this. Any existing layouts will appear here. You simply move them to the right-hand side, and then you hit save. Now the important thing to note is this little message right here. I love the little informational messages that pop up when you're doing something that could possibly run afoul of what you're trying to do. Now what this message says basically is that, look, if I'm going to assign this layout that includes a bunch of cameras and different things in it, if I'm going to assign it to this particular person, Mary, I have to make sure that Mary has access and rights to the physical cameras and things that are in the layout itself. Just makes sense. Now, if they don't have rights to those cameras, they're still going to have the layout and they can populate it. But when they go to look in those panes where they expect to see some cameras, there's going to show a disconnect. And then if they look in the tree in the bottom right hand, in the event tree at the bottom, it'll actually tell them they don't have rights to that camera. So it's important to note. I'm glad this message is here so you don't mess yourself up. But keep in mind, you have to make sure that anything that's in that layout, the people that you're assigning the layout to on their layout tab right here in the user account, they must have physical access to it and privileges to be able to do what you need to do. So with that said, just to prove it now, there's Mary, and there is the training layout that we've assigned to Mary. So if I come down now to Control Center and close it down, now, when I go back into Control Center, what I'm going to do, this might take a second or two, I'm just going to log in as Mary, and I believe I used Mary as the password as well, so I don't trip myself up there with leaving no password in there. But I believe when we come up to the system right here, and it should be there any second, I'm talking a lot to try to make it, there we go. So let's take this out, we'll put in Mary, and we'll put in Mary's password, and as soon as I go to launch into Control Center as Mary, you'll see at the very top, the training layout has now been assigned. And you can also see some of the other things I talked about. I didn't give rights to those cameras, so it's failing to display the cameras in panes or in layouts that this person does not have access to those cameras. And as you can see right down here, failed to display scene, unauthorized view. Request. So there you go. This is how to assign layouts. Again, with that important factor in mind, make sure you do have rights to those cameras or you will see what you're seeing here. For further FLIR security training, go to FLIR.com, then Products and Security. From the Security page, you would come to Support and then Training. On the training page, we have it divided currently between in-person training and online training. The in-person training includes certification classes in Latitude and many of our thermal technologies. The online training includes upcoming security webinars, which you see up here on the left, and recorded webinars, which of course continues to grow as we do the current webinars. But over on the right-hand side, you'll see our online training video library where we cover a number of different things in our repertoire. If we go to Latitude, you can see we have a series of Latitude training videos like this one that you just listened to, and we are adding to this list, and it is growing fast.